recently in January, we did roughly over like 200K for his high ticket trading offer. How do you feel about all that?
Making that kind of money feels really good.
You know, I like the idea, but my hesitations are one, it's going to create a ton of work for me.
I tell him to trust we knows what he's doing. He's got his stuff together.
So we are here with Chris, sitting down today. It's been a long time coming since me and you have started, working together back in August, September of last year. And yeah, what we've done so far has been, it's quite a journey. I feel like we just gotta sit down and, tell them all about it.
Thanks for having me, Hui. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
Can't wait to tell you all about our story.
All right, yeah, so to give you guys some context, back in September was when me and Chris started working together, and then we launched this first ever high ticket trading mentorship program, all that, and I think we did about around 110 to 120K that first month. And then now recently in January, we did roughly over 200K for his high ticket trading offer. And yeah, tell me how was that? How do you feel about all that?
Well, making that kind of money feels really good.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've been working really hard and I had a big vision for this business. But the high ticket offer that I did with you really took things to another level that I probably didn't anticipate happening as soon as they did.
Yeah.
So the volume, the size of the offer, the revenue that came in from it were just beyond my expectations. So I'm absolutely thrilled.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Would you say throughout the whole process, was there at any moment it really hit you that you're wow, I'm actually making this much from my, trading offer, all that, anything like that? Because I know before you were making still good money from your offer on trading, but it was a big jump. So I just want to see if you felt any type of way.
It was a big jump,
yeah.
And it was more than what I expected. And we might jump into this a little later, yeah. But a lot of self-limiting beliefs of what I thought could be possible or what was possible. And so I'll never forget the first week because I had a lot of doubts. I didn't know if it would work. I didn't know if these potential leads would pay this type of money, or people in my community would pay the amount we were asking for this high ticket coaching offer. And the night we launched, they started coming in.
It started rolling.
And I saw the first one come in, and then the second, and then the third, and the fourth, all within a relatively short period of time.
Yeah.
And I just remember being wow, it's actually working.
Yeah. I think I remember you texting me. You were just wow, congratulating, wow,
yep.
The team and I.
It was really exciting.
Good. Had a couple hiccups, along the way during the
any business does, yeah. Not unexpected, but luckily I've been in business long enough to know that's something that happens, right? Not everything works perfectly, and you have to be able to roll with the punches. And it went beyond my expectations.
Yeah, and that's one thing I actually want to appreciate, because I've worked with other clients in the past. Because you were very patient, with when there were the initial problems we had when we launched the offer. You were very patient about it and understanding, but I worked with other clients where one little hiccup and they're crashing out, telling me yo, we gotta shut down everything, or trying to hop on a call immediately and get it sorted. So yeah, I really you were lowering my cortisol, a lot. So that was really good.
For sure. And I think that's the difference between somebody who might not have a ton of experience in business.
Yeah.
Maybe they've never run a business, or maybe they've never had employees, or they've never run a sizable business. Mm-hmm. My experience, I have.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like. I know it's to be on one side of that happening. I know things happen all the time. Expecting things to go off perfectly is unrealistic, and you have to be willing to, give positive feedback and critique without sinking the ship, so to speak.
No, yeah, and that's exactly what happened, because we were able to fix that first hurdle we had, and I would say it went pretty smoothly after that. But I wanted to take you back before we even started working together. How was things on your end? I know you did try coaching before. You were telling me, I forgot how much you were charging specifically for just one-on-one, all that, but you said you weren't getting the best results, or the people paying weren't too serious as well, something along those lines.
Yeah, no, that's dead on.
Yeah.
I wasn't charging a lot of money, but also this particular side of the business was newer, and I just wanted to get the ball rolling. But that experience was pretty accurate. A lot of them weren't as committed.
Yeah.
They would have homework or responsibilities, and I'd have certain expectations of them to do something in preparation of the next session, and they would show up without having completed what was expected. And that was frustrating because I was spending a lot of time and investing a lot of my time in these students, hoping that they would work on growth, but I feel like they just weren't as invested, and that could have something to do with the cost or the price that they were paying, that, you know, they just didn't feel a ton of responsibility to it because they weren't as invested in their success.
Yeah, and that actually ties back to like one of the limiting beliefs you initially had, which was like you were hesitant on like, you know, charging high ticket. And I remember one of my like, I guess you say, arguments or reason why you should charge high tickets, because when people pay, you know, a much bigger amount of money, they're really committed. But me personally, I paid, you know, thousands of dollars for like, you know, mentorship program, and it made me like really like fully all in on it. If I only paid like, I know if I only paid a couple hundred, I wouldn't be taken as serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
And that works both ways.
Right.
Right? Because I know when somebody's paying me that kind of money, I'm also taking it much more seriously, right? When they're investing that type of time commitment, but also now this financial commitment. I wanted to see that people would pay that amount and be happy and find value.
Yeah.
Right? Once I saw that taking place, then I got more comfortable with, you know, increasing the size, raising the price a bit, and then, but at the same time, I'm still interested in increasing quality. So I've brought on another coach. I've added more classes, right? So I'm reinvesting in the program.
Right.
So it feels even more valuable.
Yeah.
Based on those price points.
Would you say now that you like the program itself is like pretty big, you know, you have your own coach, do you think if you were like to do it yourself, would you have been like able to like do all this like how it is now?
Definitely not. No.
Okay.
I'm too busy. You know, I have to trade. Trading is my job, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a trader first and foremost, right? I want to make that straight. Then I'm an educator, right? So I spend a lot of time teaching people how to trade, right? I don't have much time left after trading and teaching trading to run marketing campaigns, to go on sales calls, to collect money. I'm really not interested in doing any of that kind of stuff. So obviously, you know, when that was presented to me the way you did, I was very interested in seeing how that would work. Yeah,
because I remember like one of your biggest pain point was like, wasn't really, of course, make money, but your biggest pain point was like making money in a way that didn't like actually take too much time off your plate, or off your just taking too much off of your time. I remember like explaining it in a way how we would like structure the offer. So that's why we went with like group coaching, for example. It's a lot more scalable, and it didn't take up as much of your time. And I hopefully today, you know, the offer doesn't take up too much of your time, but it looks like, again, you love working, so.
I do. Really. I'm pretty invested in it. I'm pretty invested in my students' success as well. The money is great, but also the reward of being able to help people and work with people is also wonderful. So maybe I spend more time than other people do, but I'm happy to do so.
Okay. I want to really quickly ask, what made you like want to work with me in like the first place, actually?
Well, as you know, I get approached quite a lot by a lot of marketers who are interested in scaling my offer or introducing high ticket, as if they even looked at my page. Clearly they didn't, because then they would see I have a high ticket offer. But I don't know, there was something about you. You came off as really authentic and genuine. I enjoyed your personality and just kind of no nonsense, no frills, no hype approach. You just gave me the facts, and you were willing to be patient and explain things to me in a way that didn't feel condescending or arrogant, which is the other one I get. You know, like, bro, I can do this for you, and why aren't you doing this, bro? You could be making so much more money, right? Like, maybe that works for some people, but that's not working with me.
You know what's funny? I don't know if you remember this, but before that, we actually hopped on our first call. I'd emailed you like a couple months prior, I think. And then you saying you weren't interested. I don't know if you remember that. And then later on the DMs was when I changed my approach up a bit. I sent you like a personalized video. You saw, you liked it. You know, the rest is history. But
now I mean, mostly I don't even watch them. You know, I don't. I kind of skip over them, but
because you have your guy now.
The timing worked, man, and I'm thrilled. I'm very happy with the decision I made, and you've shown yourself each and every time.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Did you like? by any chance like have any hesitations when you?
I did. I had a lot of hesitations.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it had nothing to do, and it really didn't have much to do with you. It had to do with a lot of my own self-limiting beliefs, and I had to prove it to myself. And you allowed me to do it in such a way that gave me a little grace to kind of to feel it out. I did have to take somewhat of a leap of faith,
right,
and trust you.
Yeah.
And I did, and I'm glad I did, because you delivered on everything you said you were going to do, but also things worked the way you said they were going to work.
Yeah.
And we got the results you said that we were going to get, and you know, so I'm glad I did, but it happened in such a way where it was generally low pressure. I can kind of air my concerns. You would talk me through certain things, and ultimately we landed where we landed. I did have a lot of hesitations though, but you helped me overcome them.
Yeah, I want to lean in on that. Like, I think we throughout this convo we talked about the hesitations, but what would you say were like your main hesitations? Was it just like does it go back to charging like just high ticket? Was there anything else I'm missing?
So I would say my biggest hesitation was my fear of charging a large sum of money and not being able to deliver the value that they were hoping to get for that kind of money.
Yeah.
That was a big fear of mine, right? Because I'm a genuine person, right?
Yeah.
I care about people.
Right.
I'm not here to rip people off.
Right.
And if I'm going to charge that kind of money, I want them to be happy and feel like it was worth it.
Yeah.
And you helped me. First of all, you told me that if I did do this, and I am who I say I am, and I am good at what I do, that people will find value in it. You assured me. And that this type of money that they would spend, people spend all the time on stuff like this, and don't get half as much value out of it. And I was like, all right, you know, maybe you're right, maybe you're not. I'm willing to give it a try. Let's start at a lower price point. You wanted to go higher. You let me go lower, and we proved it. You know, people were happy at that price point. We raised it a little bit. People were still happy. We raised it a little bit, still happy. Nothing changed. So that was kind of the process. But, you know, it was the fear of not being able to deliver. I'm not interested in taking money from somebody who doesn't find the value.
Yeah, I actually want to like elaborate on that for context. You really are a genuine guy, because a lot of people, when we framed, like, I don't remember the first time we did the marketing, we framed it as like, you know, we were going to limit to like 15 spots max. And literally, we sold out all 15 spots, like literally within like the first, I think 48 hours or whatever. And then I think you wanted to close it at that time, right? Yeah. But I still, you know, I was like, there's still a lot more room left.
We haven't gotten through half of the calls.
There's like, you know, we did like a wait list. There's still so many people on the wait list. We still had like, you know, tons of calls left booked. I was like, we can't just like, you know, stop here. And then you're still willing to able to open up like another 10 spots. But you literally like, once we hit like 25, maybe it was like 28, I don't remember the exact number. You said it's like gonna be a hard stop. And that was because your reasoning was for the next, with that group, since it's your first time doing like high ticket, you really genuinely wanted to get them results, which I actually respected. Like, obviously I wanted to make more money, but I remember like after you said that, the team and I, we were like, to be fully transparent, like, you know, disappointed. Because, you know, there's still a lot of money left on the table. But I remember I had to frame the team like, you know, at the end of the day, I honestly respect it. You guys should too, just because he's genuinely just trying to help them. And if he takes on more people, that's gonna like, you know, mess up the fulfillment, quality. So just, you know, understand them. And then they were pretty understanding when I broke it down and all that. So yeah.
It was important. And then we increased the size the next time. So we did, you know, I felt comfortable. You let me do my thing. I ran that cohort with 25 people, and I saw how it went, and I got a lot of information. I got a lot of feedback from them. And at that point, we opened it up.
Yeah, we literally doubled in size, I believe. The second time around. And yeah, it was a good experience. What would you say, just going back real quick, what was your first impression when we started going, like, you know, started out working together? Or honestly, what did that first like win feel like? You know, the first sale came in, all that. How did that feel?
I felt, damn, this might work. Right? Because there was a lot of doubt. Right? I hadn't seen it yet. We hadn't done it. There was no proof of concept yet, aside from you saying that other people were doing it, right? And that's helpful in of itself, right? Knowing that other people are doing it, and half of them are trash, and you know, they're still able to do that, and I'm confident that in my abilities and that I have a better product. So why can't I do it? So, you know, but once that first couple of sales came in, the excitement peaked up, but then, was also okay, now I got to make sure these people are happy.
Yeah.
So, but then that all went really, really well. So now I'm very confident as we continue to work together and we scale it up.
Yeah, I remember like when the floodgates, that's how I like to say it, the floodgates open, we were starting to get sales, and you were like busy back to back to back. I remember you sent me like your calendar.
Yeah.
Like back to back to back calls. That's honestly a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And I got to learn a lot too.
Yeah.
When you get to sit down with your students, the ones who are investing, you get to ask a lot of questions, and they tell you a lot about their journey, what they're struggling with, what their pain points are, and how can I help them, overcome that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of research and development that can be done in that process, and I took advantage of that.
Yeah. What would you say like is your biggest takeaway since you're able to do like coaching in a more like direct, intimate access, to your students compared to like just your low ticket? What would you say like your biggest takeaway from that? Because as you were just saying, you're able to learn like a lot more about them.
Yep.
Would you say coaching just in general, you're able to like
you generally can help them in a way that you can't do in a low ticket. You can really understand their own problems. You can be there for them when they need somebody to talk to that's a coach or somebody who truly understands what they're going through.
Yeah.
And somebody who can give it to them as they need to hear it, right? People, I can tell you for a fact they didn't pay me this type of money to blow smoke up their ass, right?
Right.
They wanted to hear the truth, right? They wanted me to give it to them factually, and they also wanted to be called out on their own BS.
Yeah.
Right? When they're slacking, or when they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, or they're kidding themselves, right? They're lying to themselves.
Yeah.
They're telling them things that are not taking accountability, or that are not true, right? Because we don't always see things as they are. We can see things as we are.
Yeah.
And those beliefs need to be broken down.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Just because I remember one of the biggest reasons why people really bought into your offer was because of that accountability you held, with them. Like people love really accountability. Yep. All that. Like even I have people like my mentors that keep me accountable in things that how I act in ways like that. And I think, what would you say was like with all those we've done 2 launches now. What would you say like the biggest problem I helped solve for you, in the sense that like what did I do just like allowed you to focus on what you do best, was just making content and delivering results?
Well, you've helped me scale my revenue in such a way that has been extremely important to the business itself, because the revenue that's come in from that program has allowed me to reinvest in staff, in marketing, and all types of areas of the business to now see exponential growth across all my verticals.
Yeah.
Because I do have high ticket coaching, but I also have software products, I have the low ticket community, I have prop firm affiliations, I have all these other things that have also increased because of what we've done on the high ticket side, the marketing we've done on the high ticket side. So the entire benefit, the business has benefited not just the high ticket the coaching side, but all of the revenue verticals.
I'm glad to really hear it. So the whole ecosystem.
The whole ecosystem has benefited from this.
Okay. Nice.
Not just from the revenue that's come in from it, but from the increased exposure that we've done by marketing it.
Yeah. Okay. What type of marketing would you say? Because like I know one thing when we were doing the marketing, that you were big on was like making sure all the marketing we did like aligned with your brand, not being like too like salesy and all that, because you really care about your personal brand. I think that was one of like your biggest things you told me. Like you sat down when we first started working, like I really am trusting you, but I really deeply care about my personal brand. I remember you saying that, so I made sure to like adjust the marketing in a way where it sounded in line with your brand. Would you say I did like a good job of doing that?
I did. I think you did a great job. There's always going to be some hiccups along the way. That's to be expected. But overarchingly, you did a great job. And if there was something that I didn't like, you let me air that, and you took it seriously. Like, oh, I don't really think that aligns.
Yeah.
Or, I'd read an email, or I'd see this, and it didn't happen a lot, but once in a while it would happen, and I would air that concern, and you would acknowledge it, and it would change, and we'd move forward.
Awesome.
Like a good relationship is. But especially when it comes to trading, there can be some intricacies about my story, how I trade, the approach I take to trading, and there's a lot of information out there that it's easily to commingle those ideas, and they're not appropriate. And people I work with can't always catch on to that unless they've been a vigorous student of mine, right? How would they know?
Right.
So I do have a responsibility to supervise a little bit, make sure everything's on brand, but you've done a great job of helping in that process.
Yeah, I think that's honestly one of like the reasons why we're able to our partnership was able to work so well, is because we both also had things we still need to work on on each of our end, but every time we got feedback from whether it be from you or from me, we would be open to it and actually taking action, or at least hearing each other out on it, fixing each other, which I really would say is one of the main drivers in which allowed this partnership to thrive and all that.
For sure.
Yeah. Did you work with any other agencies in the past, or any other
I did work with an agency on my low ticket. Business Grower. They gave me just a lot of content tips, how to structure the low ticket, how to create my stories, how to do things like that. That allowed me to. It worked. They were excellent.
Okay.
But they only got me so far with the low ticket.
One thing I want to ask, would you say, where do you think you would have been? So you worked with other people, found some success. Do you think if you kept going with where you're what you were doing, do you think you would be where you're at today, where you're at right now?
No, absolutely not. I don't know if I would have gotten this far. I don't know if I would have gotten my low ticket far enough to work with you. Right. Had I not worked with them, they helped me on my low ticket, my shorts, and my stories to get me to such a place where I made an impact. That grew my community to such a level where you would approach me and I would be interested in trying a high ticket offer.
What's the rest of your goal for this year? Where are you looking to head this year? I know that's one of our big things we always talk about. It's going to the moon, all that.
Sky's the limit, baby. Sky's the limit. I'd like to see 7 figures.
7 figures.
Yeah.
A month, or in a year?
In a year. Let's start with a year.
Start with a year.
And then 7-figure months would be pretty incredible. But yeah, let's get to a year.
Let's get to a year.
This year, maybe we'll pass that, and then we'll work towards multiple 7 figures a year.
And how confident would you say you're feeling? Do you think you'll be able to hit 7 figures a year with us just working together, continuing throughout this year?
I make a living taking bets, essentially.
Bets? Yeah.
I'm all in on this one.
You're all in? That's what I like to say. What would you say you're most excited about right now? I know the coaching is one thing you're excited about. You're growing your YouTube. I think one of your goals, you have a book coming out as well. You have a lot of plans. I just want to know, genuinely just ask,
my personal brand, I think, as I raise my profile as a trader and educator, I think it's going to feed all of the business verticals.
Okay.
So, and obviously the marketing we do for the long form, for the YouTube, for the high ticket, all of it helps my personal brand. And I've been able to help a lot of traders find consistency and success. And in raising my profile, I'll be able to help more people.
So just growing
grow my brand and my following, for sure.
Growing your brand. I know you told me as your brand, you want to become a thought leader in the space, right?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on that, just for other people who might potentially, want to have some sort of impact similar to that in their space, whatever their vertical is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do find myself as somebody who has a unique trading mechanism, a system that I've written myself. It's unique to this. My particular industry and in my niche in trading, and I know it's successful. I see the results, and I think the more people that find it, the more people are going to realize how powerful it is. And I think it carries enough weight to become an authority when it comes to this type of trading. Which is trading with VWAP, or volume weighted average price, using auction market theory. There's a couple of guys that specialize in it, and I think I got them beat.
You got them beat, I mean, you have one book that's already number 3 on Amazon. You have another one coming up. like I would say you're definitely going towards that direction, if not one of the top dogs already.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited within the next few months how your brand is, all that, because like I could tell, you know, you love what you're doing.
I do.
Yeah. And so last thing, right, for the people, if someone's watching this right now and, you know, they're in the exact same spot you were before we met, you know, before we started working together, what would you like tell them?
I tell him to trust We knows what he's doing. He's got his stuff together. I told him one other thing he hasn't mentioned yet, but I told I said, I work pretty hard and I work a lot. I said, if you could match me in how much I work, you'll have yourself a good partner.
Yeah.
And he's demonstrated that he's able to deliver on that. He's always been available for me. He keeps me on point, tells me when I need to be delivering things, getting things done for him, which I've greatly appreciated, and I couldn't think of a better way to work with somebody. So trust the process.
You guys heard it from Chris, folks. That is, you know, I actually don't know how to close this out. I don't have
Over and out.
Over and out. Yeah, Chris, I honestly appreciate, you know, taking your time out of your day to sit down and have this chat with me. I'm really excited on what we're gonna do moving forward in the future. We have big plans. Yeah, if you guys are watching this right now and you're interested in potentially getting results like Chris, working with me, just click the first link below. And yeah, I think we're like a good fit. Would love to, you know, chat with you guys.